Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Tennessee coming off of an absolutely huge recruiting weekend, calling it RockyTopPalooza. All kinds of top talent around the country in Knoxville for visits. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to see where that momentum lies coming out of it. But I think one thing we could look at is this tweet from Caleb Herring. What better voice than the number one player in the state of Tennessee? He tweets out something special happening on Rocky Top. I thought it was interesting. Austin Price talking about the weekend of visits and who all was in town, and made mention that Caleb Herring was being more of a vocal leader and kind of talking to some of these guys coming in town. Met Rico Walker for the first time. And some of you guys were talking about it in a video I made recently, that Tennessee, this class of 23, they need a vocal leader like a Nico Iamaleava on the offensive side of the ball. Can Caleb Herring step up and be that guy for this defense? Well, let me tell you something. The first impression coming out of the weekend is about the defensive line. Rodney Garner is building something special on that defensive line. We'll get into it and talk about it, but as always, do me a favor. Go ahead and smash that thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, it's free, it's easy. It helps the channel. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We are fans just like you. So if you enjoy the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. But let's jump in and take a look at the article from on3.com, written by Peter Warren. Says Nico Iamaleava, Francis Maui Goa, and more visiting Tennessee. And you could see this class of 23 for Tennessee, the RockyTopPalooza hashtag on Twitter. They were all over social media all weekend long. But let's take a look, see who was on campus, and again, talk about where that momentum lies coming out of this big Memorial Day weekend recruiting event. Says this weekend is one of the most important of the 2023 recruiting cycle for Tennessee. Not only 23, I said this in an earlier video, I think it's the biggest recruiting cycle of Josh Heupel's career at Tennessee. And again, I gave him a free pass for the class of 22, even though I think he did a nice job there. I think he added some nice pieces to the puzzle in that class of 22. Probably did a better job in the transfer portal, but this class of 23, this is his first real cycle. This is his first real opportunity. The NCAA investigation has been buried. It's done. It's over. And now we can really sell what Josh Heupel is building. And this weekend was huge. So let's take a look and see who was in town. Obviously, right out of the gate, Nico Iamaleava headlines a major group of both commits and top targets visiting Knoxville, Tennessee for Memorial Day weekend. The quote from Nico earlier at the Elite 11 camp in Nashville was, "I'll be back with a lot of the top guys I am trying to bring." I love that swag. Nico he's got that it factor. He is a big part of the reason why I think Carnell Tate ends up at Tennessee as well. And I think the next one is the guy you see right here on the list, and that is Francis Maui Goa. We've talked about him at length the last couple of weeks. Francis Maui Goa, 5-star offensive tackle. I feel good about it. Go ahead and write it down. Go ahead and book it. Francis Maui Goa is coming to Tennessee. Now, let's talk about some of these other names on the list, because, again, I feel like the momentum coming out of this weekend is on that defensive line unit. I think Rodney Garner is building something special in this class of 23. And, yes, we need linebackers. We need guys on the back end. But when you can build a solid foundation on that defensive line, everybody else gets better. When you can get after the quarterback, it makes the secondary look that much better. And I think Rodney Garner has the opportunity. It certainly feels like he is building something special on that defensive line unit. The first name you see there on the list, Shandavion Bradley, 6'4", 215-pound edge rusher. He is a 4-star prospect. Depending on where you look, he can also be a 5-star prospect, I believe, on the 24/7 Sports composite. But Tennessee way out in front on this one. Now, Bradley was in town on an unofficial visit. He'll come back in June for an official visit. And Shandavion Bradley got a crystal ball prediction to Tennessee back in March from a writer over at Oklahoma. And now there's even more momentum as Steve Wiltfong has put in the crystal ball as well. He's a guy that carries a little bit more weight. People pay attention just a little bit more to his predictions. And I feel like Tennessee in a very good spot with Bradley. When we continue to look at that defensive line unit, you can see the next name on the list there is an offensive lineman. We'll get into that in just a moment. But a name mentioned here is Hunter Osborne. And that's a name that really hasn't been talked about a lot. Kind of a guy that's coming on now. Tennessee leading the way. You go over to On3, look at the recruiting prediction machine. Tennessee has a slight lead over Auburn. 6'3", 250 pounds on the defensive line. Look at the scouting report for Hunter Osborne, because, again, not a guy that I've talked a lot about, but he is a four-star prospect. Says he's 6'3", 250, appears to possess growth potential to add weight to his frame, and that's something we can talk about with some of these other defensive linemen too. They have that potential to add more weight, possibly slide inside versus being an edge guy. But it says he displays good athleticism at the 5 technique, flashes some ability to play inside on the interior. Again, he's got the potential to add that weight. Says he's got a good first step off the line of scrimmage, good foot and body quickness at the point of attack, plays with good knee bend and flexibility, showing the ability to bend the edge. Sudden rusher moves efficiency in his pass rush, can win with speed, quickness, and power. Shows the ability to speed at power at the point of attack, plays with a good understanding of leverage and body control. So again, Hunter Osborne, not a guy that I've talked a whole lot about, but a guy that's worth mentioning that was in town. And then another guy that Tennessee really seems to have picked up some momentum with. I talked about this kid just in a recent video, making his return back to Knoxville, been in and around campus a lot lately, and that's Tamarian Parker. 6'4", 257-pound edge rusher. Again, this is a guy some of you guys were talking about on that video that has the body size to be able to add more weight and possibly end up sliding to the inside. But when I made that video and I talked about Tamarian Parker, again, 4-star prospect out of Alabama, a lot of people talking about Georgia and how far out front they are and that Tennessee has absolutely no chance. You looked at the On3 recruiting prediction machine, and Georgia is almost at 88%. So this kid's a Georgia Bulldog, right? He's a lock. Why should Tennessee even bother? Well, you get him on campus. You let him talk to Coach G. You sell him on what you're building. Now Tamarian Parker comes off of this visit, comes off of RockyTopPalooza, and he tells John Bryce over at VolQuest that the VAWLS are in the lead. The VAWLS are the team to beat for Tamarian Parker. And I know the recruiting is fluid. There's the highs, there's the lows. You come off of a big-time weekend like RockyTopPalooza. Everybody's excited. Everybody's talking about it. You're going to lean towards that team. Now, once he goes home, sits down, sleeps on it, maybe that changes, but that tells you that Tennessee very much in the mix for another 4-star defensive lineman, Tamarian Parker. Also worth mentioning on the defensive line that was in town, Rico Walker. Tennessee has a good relationship there. North Carolina also in the mix. But Rico Walker is a guy, again, Austin Price over at VolQuest talked about getting to meet Caleb Herring for the first time. And Caleb Herring really doing a good job selling this program, selling what Josh Heupel is building. So we'll see how that momentum goes with Rico Walker. He's another guy that I feel good about. Vic Burley in town seems to be trending towards Clemson. Is there some momentum there coming off the weekend? Maybe. But again, Rodney Garner building something special on that defensive line unit. Also a big position group for me coming out of this weekend was the offensive line. You can see a couple of names there mentioned. One, Lucas Simmons. He's a 4-star offensive lineman out of Florida, 4-star prospect. USC, Florida State, Florida, all in the mix. But the thing about Lucas Simmons is Tennessee has that relationship. They've got that family ties. If you look at an article that was on VolQuest last week as they were kind of previewing the upcoming visit, one thing he said in a quote was that Tennessee is a school that stands out relationship-wise because Coach Heupel was there at Oklahoma with my dad for 1 year. Billy Ray was at Oklahoma as well as my dad, speaks highly of him. I met both of them and had great talks with them this weekend. So can Tennessee get in the door, use that family relationship to get Lucas Simmons and also Bryson Sanders, a 4-star interior offensive lineman out of Chattanooga. Tennessee seems to sit well with Bryson Sanders, but I think the same to be said as that defensive line. Tennessee's got to continue to build depth on that offensive line. I would like to see them take 5-6 offensive linemen in this class of 23. They got the skill positions with guys like Nico, guys like Carnell Tate, guys like Ethan Davis. You've already got the big 5-star Francis Maui Goa. Add Bryson Sanders, Lucas Simmons, some of these other kids that were in for the visit this weekend. Continue to carry that momentum. Hit that comment section. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think coming off of RockyTopPalooza? Who does Tennessee have the most momentum with, and how big of an impact can it make with Rodney Garner building this defensive line to make the rest of the defense look that much better? This offense is going to score points. They are going to score a lot of points. You get a defense good enough then Tennessee's going to be able to do something special. But hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. Also, go check out the official merchandise of the Talkin' VAWLS Network. You go to bonfire.com/store/TalkinVaws. Any and all support, greatly appreciated. You see those brand new Beat Bama, Beat Florida, Beat Georgia shirts. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, hit that comment section, smash that thumbs up, and go check out the merch at bonfire.com/store/TalkinVaws. That's going to do it for this one. This is the Talkin' VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.